What's up, everybody? It's Brandon from Box Office Banner and Cult Flick Symposium, and I'm coming at you with another Yellowjackets review, which is kind of nice, because if you've been paying attention to my channel, I've been having to do Fast and the Furious review after Fast and the Furious review, but naturally, I could not skip over Yellowjackets since I'm doing this episode week by week. So, this one, I will say, though, don't know how long this review is going to be because Fast and the fucking Furious has absolutely taken over my life. It has infected my brain. It's even dumbed me down to some degree. I do enjoy those movies quite a bit, but I don't think I can intellectually get with Yellowjackets like I normally can right now. Does that make sense? I don't know. We'll see how the review turns out. We'll see how long it is. Normally I go about 20 minutes. But honestly, this episode, I don't know if it's because I'm so wrapped up in that, did not overall grab me. Like, it was good. I liked it. It's not like the worst episode of the season or anything like that, or it wasn't bad. They're not saying that. It just not a whole lot resonated with me, I guess. But either way, let's talk about it. That's it. I have nothing. No, I'm just playing. Shauna and the after effects of losing her baby. This bitch goes crazy. Good Lord. She is still possibly of the mind frame that these motherfuckers ate her kid. What if they did? Maybe they are lying to her. Jesus Christ. No, I think she's losing her mind. So much so that she even had to go to Jackie, who's no longer in the barn, but she felt the need to go there and be like, I really need you right now, Jackie. Snacky Jackie is a lot of the people in the Yellowjackets group have pinned on her. Poor girl. Yeah, probably shouldn't have ate her. But then again, she's with her in spirit. Maybe she can talk to her. Maybe, it felt like a good little place to be alone to kind of, bounce her thoughts off the walls. And, that's the last place she remembers really spending time with Jackie. As weird as that fucking was. Good God, that was a weird stretch. So she is just going through it. Going through it so much so that the end of the episode, good Christ, do we want to go there yet? You know what? Fuck it. Let's just talk about it. We'll ping pong it around everywhere, this review. Like I said, not probably going to be as well structured as my other reviews. Lottie. Good God. Was not expecting this. I was not expecting this at all. Lottie is seeing what's going on with Shauna. She's seeing her accusations. She tells everybody else to step in the other room, and she puts her hands behind her. I almost thought she was doing, that like little square up shit some people do. For whatever reason, you see it really not pan out. Like when they're about to fight, they got their hands behind their back. Like, what the fuck is that? Why are you putting away your weapons, bro? This is what you're going to need to fight. So I thought she was almost doing one of those, just like, oh yeah, bro, I'm holstering my shit because you don't want to see him come out. I thought she was going to do one of those things. Because, you see that in fights all the time where people do that and they end up getting clocked in the face and you're like, well, yeah, stupid, put your fucking hands up. What are you doing? I don't understand. Don't understand at all, but that was not what Lottie was doing at all. She stood there and said, no, like, for real, I'm not going to pull these things out. Shauna, we need you. Do what you will. And Shauna does what she will. If you will. Good God. She doesn't just beat the shit out of Lottie. Lottie's lucky she's alive. Like, to the point where if the new Lottie of, present day Lottie did not come into the fucking picture this season, this would have been the definitive, like, oh yeah, well, Shauna's about to kill her right fucking now because she literally did nothing short of beat her to death. Like, I don't know how she's even alive. She punched her what felt like 100 times over and over again. And like the just like, oh my God, she's had enough moment. That was like 80 punches ago. She's still fucking going. Blood is shooting in the air. It's dripping off her hand when she's fucking pulling it up, and you got like that behind you, and you're just like, good God. And everybody's watching it. I guess they somehow felt that was needed too. Like, you could tell they had some, like, I guess, disdain for it, where they're just like, all right, this is kind of fucked. Especially Nat. Nat was like, oh my God, what are we doing? But they let it happen. Shauna got it out. She finally rolled over and was like, Lottie? Like, almost just like, are you okay? I know I just beat the shit out of you, so I know you're not. But Lottie, Lottie, you good? You good? And finally, she like spit up some blood. Going to be interesting to see what happens after. Like, how do y'all even sit in the same room together? Like, hey, Lottie, my bad. And her face is just like swollen, like she just had this horrible allergic reaction to something. It's pretty fucking fucked. Like, I don't even know where they go from there. Like, does Shauna accept, like, okay, thank you for that. I really, really appreciate you letting me use your face as a punching bag. And I'm good. I am now. I believe you. You didn't eat my baby. What was I thinking? You're good though, right? And she's just in the corner like it's just gonna be funny to see how that goes going forward. Okay, let's skim to real life Shauna, everyday Shauna. Now that we have all these girls at the compound with Lottie, that's another thing. Do they even remember these things? So now we're finding out that they might not even remember a lot of the shit that went down there. Who the fuck knows, right? At the compound, they all have different things, they're trying to be a part of the compound. Misty's got the little float tank. They got Thaisa, like, painting with a small brush the outside of a building until Thaisa finally snaps, like, Lottie, I get it. All right, I don't get it. Like, how is this going to fucking help me, Lottie? And Lottie's, like, doing these almost like, I don't even know. Like, it's almost like monk-like shit, like at a monastery. Like, do this and you will learn. Like some ancient, like, Chinese teachings where, like, they have you do some crazy shit over and over again that doesn't seem relevant. But by the end of it, they've actually taught you. But you as, like, the person that's a student is like, why am I doing this over and over again? I don't understand how this applies. And they're, hitting you with the, when the time comes, you'll know. Like, Lottie's on some shit like that right now. And Thaisa's not having it. She's over it. Talk about Shauna, though. We'll kind of circle back to her since that was, my original segue into this. Shauna's got to take care of a baby goat named Bruce. And she's convinced that she's going to have to, I'm going to get attached to this goat. And then later on, I'm going to have to slit its throat, right? And everybody's kind of just, they don't say, like, no, that's not what you're going to have to do, until Lottie eventually finally does come in at the end. Like, no, that's not what you're going to have to do. But even I kind of was just like, I almost wish it would be like, what? Like, why do you even think that that's what you, like, why do you go there? Like, how fucked up is your mind? It is Shauna we're talking about, so that makes sense. But, it's kind of a cool representation, especially after the life she lost, like, of her child. And then now we're seeing, her current child, how she deals with Callie. She even talks about how she feels like she might grip her so tight because she is so afraid of her getting hurt and dying. And, that kind of shows that type of situation within her relationship with this goat. Lottie might have been right. It seems to really pull some emotions out of Shauna, and watching her take care of this goat is even kind of funny at times when she's talking to Misty and she's like, oh, shit, it chewed through the rope. Bruce. Yeah, like, it's, it's funny and, little metaphorical type of meaning behind it. All that shit, it kind of works in this episode. It's not the best, but it's worth my time, I think. Like, I enjoyed it. Everybody's little thing they were doing, especially Shauna, especially dealing with her stuff, losing her child, and us seeing that firsthand last episode, and now getting to see some of the emotional struggles she deals with Callie and having to watch her babysit a goat. Like I said, let's just be honest, it's somewhat kind of amusing. So it was kind of cool. And she didn't have to slaughter it. So, hats off to Lottie not being a bitch and teaching her a cruel punishment amongst all this. And hats off to Shauna for not having to kill something. It's nice for her to not have to do that. The episode, even another part of the ending, Shauna, speaking of Shauna, we'll stick with her for a little bit, getting the call from Jeff that, he's even playing. I was like, hey, that person? Like, he sounds so fucking guilty. Like, you had the little fender bender with, apparently his name was Adam, right? Adam, was it? Wasn't that it? Yeah, he had, they seem to have found his remains. And, that's kind of what they leave us with. So it's just like, what is going to happen with that? Oh, my God. This show, bro. It's got to leave us every episode with, like, some cliffhanger. And guess what? We might not even get the results of what the last cliffhanger was the last episode till 3 seasons later, because this show takes its sweet ass time. Again, I've talked about it multiple times. The only thing I really worry about this show is if they have too many things to patch up, because they're coming up with way more mystery than they are answers, and it's going to be perfect if they tie it up. But man, a lot to tie up, and the list is ever growing as they keep adding more shit. So we'll see about that. Misty, she's doing the whole float tank gig, which was kind of cool. It was a cool little scene. She's in the float tank. She's basically might as well be on acid. Like, she's tripping balls. It's very, I've heard other people say this, but I thought the same thing immediately, because I am also a fan of Twin Peaks. I'm not a huge fan. Like, it seems like if you're a fan of Twin Peaks, you're either all in or all out. Like, you're just like, oh my God, it's one of the best shows ever. You're just like, couldn't get into it. I'm one of those weird people that, I actually haven't seen the movies, which is shame on me. But I did watch the first 2 seasons, and they were solid enough. Trippy, David Lynch fare, same old shit, but good shit. And I watched the revival. The revival's actually probably within arm's length back there. I actually own that. And it was all good. I really enjoyed it. But at the same time, though, do I love it like some people? No, but cool pop culture reference, to have this in here. And I think it's obvious that this is wholly inspired by Twin Peaks with the red curtains. And, you saw it in the new intro. How they have like a quick clip of her, Misty, and you saw the red curtain. I immediately thought Twin Peaks right then and there. Which also they did something with the intro this episode. What was up with that? They kind of slowed it down. I kind of dug it though. That's another thing that I almost forgot to talk about. Just remembered it when I talked about that image in the intro. But what is with that, guys? Like, what do you think they're doing with that? Is that just like a episode thing, or is that going to be the new intro? Just out of nowhere, just past the halfway point of the season, the intro is the same, but it's at like a different pace. Like, curious to see if that's going to switch up, because I was kind of digging it. I'm not going to lie. Speaking of music too, by the way, Something in the Way by Nirvana, dude, love that song. Might be my favorite Nirvana song. Love some Nirvana. And let the cat out of the bag on this one. Batman. They had that in the new Batman movie. I adore the new Batman movie. Fucking amazing. And for this to come out and be in this, it's kind of just like, shit, I just saw something. So like now I tie this song to that. Didn't even matter. I love this show so much. I'm just like, yes, now it's in Yellowjackets. But it was such a perfect opening song to this episode. It just kind of like, they're all sitting on the floor, just dealing with the aftermath of what just happened with Shauna's baby. And it paints the scene home with flying colors, dude. Flying bloody red colors. Loved it. Misty, though, in this episode, younger Misty. This bitch, she's all over the place, dude. I don't even know what to think of her anymore, dude. It's like the newer her is chaos, but it's almost like controlled chaos. Younger her is just like, it's just chaos. Like, she could, I was about to say fall off a cliff. That kind of ties in, doesn't it? With something that happened and something that almost happened again. We'll talk about it. Misty is like overhearing a couple other girls, Akila. I think the other girl's name is Marie. Akila, I'm kind of liking her character. She's coming on strong. I actually like the recast they did on her. I don't know if y'all noticed that. She's played by a different actress now. But she's over here, and I'm like, oh, yeah, Misty, like, she didn't flinch. Like, she handled that baby thing perfectly. And then, it's like, oh, yeah, great. I'm hearing people talk about me in a good way, much like she did when she smashed the fucking the thing that was going to get people to come rescue them to pieces, because she overheard people saying how, great she was out here in the wilderness. Coincidentally is what sent Crystal over the fucking edge to begin with. Yeah, she overhears this, and that's great for like 2 seconds. And then she overhears them say, oh, yeah, but like, I mean, how could you not? Like, I wouldn't put it past her. Like, where's Crystal? It's like, shouldn't she be wanting to look for her now that the snowstorm went? Of course, what does Misty do? They get back to the cabin. She's like, all right, I understand we're grieving over the baby Shauna had died, but we need to look for Crystal. I mean, how fucking, god damn it, Misty. that's got to be such a pain in the ass too. You're like freezing and you're just like, I have to do this to not look like a psychopath. But goddamn it, I'm freezing. I'm tired. I don't want to act like I don't know where she is. She's dead. But nevertheless, they go on the witch hunt that has no witch at the end of it. And eventually Misty gets told she can go back to the cabin. She's like, oh, really? I mean, damn, you sure you don't want me out here? I mean, I am upset. You're right. And she goes to look for Crystal, actually. She can't find her, but she does find Coach. And Coach, man, all these backstories, which as much fucking backstory as we've got with the Coach, like, it hasn't really amounted to much, at least not yet. Like, I'm waiting for this to be like, I thought the first episode where we got backstory was going to be like, boom, this is the, Coach's episode. And we're like, oh shit. But it's just like little tidbits of him and his lover over and over and over again. I'm waiting for that just like sledgehammer over the head. Just like, oh, that's where we're going with it. It's weird to me that they've drugged this out. And we see Coach about to kill himself. He's just like, I'm done with all this. And he's about to, as Misty's just yelling, just like, well, tell everybody you're gay. We'll eat you. Like saying all this bullshit. And she's like, David, I can't have any more blood on my hands. Which, ironically enough, is what gets him to walk off the ledge, because it was like the first thing she said that wasn't complete bullshit. There was honesty there. He almost felt remorse for her. It's like, damn, okay. It's almost like a second to step back, just like, I'm not the only one in fucking pain here. Because he doesn't realize she's talking about Crystal. He's thinking that she's talking about the baby. So he's feeling a moment for Misty, like, damn, like, it was just a good way for her to say some shit and luck into some shit because there happened to be other blood on her hands. But also, it was the perfect thing to say to him in that moment to just have the relatability. Especially like when you're going through something like that where you're about to like take your own life. I mean, I don't have experience in this, but I have stuff to a way lesser degree. I can only imagine that's heightened if you're fucking on 11 about to go that fucking far. You want somebody to relate to. And sometimes you can get so caught up in the moment of just being stuck out there and being almost self-centered because you're like, poor pity me, my leg and all this, that every once in a while you got to just look to the person next to you like, damn, like you're going through it too. We're all going through it. So instead of circling myself off or sectioning myself off, I don't know why I said circling, sectioning myself off and making myself more alone and feeling like, ooh, pity me. We need to be growing together, and I need to be, diving deeper into this group connection because you are going through the same shit I am. So in a weird way, Misty somehow stumbled into really helping the Coach, which is interesting. And of course, really the only other thing that I can think of to talk about in this episode is Van. Van and Taissa start kissing again, except it's actually them. It's not the other Taissa. And Van's just like, I don't have a lot of time. And Taissa's like, what the hell do you mean? And of course, Van realizes she puts out there she has cancer. So this is going to be interesting. And I'm not 100% sold after hearing that. I don't know if anybody else is thinking about it, that, the wilderness, the way it could give, the way it can take back, the way it can, almost heal. It's got powers. I wonder if they're going to try to cure Van's cancer via the wilderness and its powers. It just seems like a plot line that can happen. Look for that. Never shows up. Sorry, I'm an idiot. If it does, you heard it here. Probably not first, but you probably thought it too. But it's definitely something I'm going to keep my eyes out for, because I could just see that. Maybe even, where that's the set piece that makes them have to go back to the wilderness. Like, we got to save Van. So very curious if that's going to tie in or if they're just going to kill. I just don't. If she's that bad off, why would they bring her back just to kill her off some lame old cancer just like that? Like, I just don't see that. There's going to be something with that, and I think the wilderness is going to tie into it. It also was cool to see all of them together, dancing. Of course, Van's the one that turned up the music. Whatever, I forget what that song is called, that lightning crashes, a new mother cries, pale blue covered eyes, that whole fucking song that everybody's heard. Ooh, I feel it. Yeah, I'm just going to do the whole song. That song is great. Who can't like that song? And Thais is like, I know some great people at this hospital. And Van's and me like, oh, I love this song. Like, leave me alone. I'm before you even hear it, came to be content with this. I'm just trying to enjoy the last bit of my life. And what better way to interrupt her and be like, oh, I love this song. Let's have this moment. And just watching like all the girls and shit, just all as one dance together to this song. It was a beautiful moment. I actually really enjoyed it. It was just like, wow, all together again. And for once, they're not stressed out all together. They're all together having just a moment to just break free, to forget about reality for a second. That was cool to see because every moment we've seen with these girls from when they were younger to, now older has just been stress. So it was an interesting dynamic to see that get flip flop. Really enjoyed that. Now, on the other end of that, it was cutting to Shauna, as I talked about earlier in the review, beating the absolute shit out of Lottie. So it was kind of bittersweet. But yeah, as far as Lottie goes, this episode, she's going fucking crazy. Her mind's playing tricks on her. All that good shit still happening. We'll see what more comes of that. Yes, solid episode, guys. Really enjoyed it. Thought I didn't have as much to talk about. Turns out I do. That's how it goes, right? I don't know. Love you guys. Yellowjackets. Bang, bang. Don't know how to end this. Like, share, subscribe. I'm going to talk about some more Fast and the Furious. Help me now. Love y'all.